Barbarian is a 2022 horror thriller that weaves together a few different elements of suspense, horror, and dark humour, and it really works. It's directed by Zach Cregger, and the film stars Georgina Campbell, Bill Skarsgård, and Justin Long, and it explores the terrifying consequences of a series of unfortunate coincidences that lead unsuspecting individuals into a nightmarish situation. And the film is really disturbing and really creepy at some points. Like, this is one of those films that I did not expect to be as bad as it was. But it gets weird, guys. Have no fear. I'm here to tell you all about it, so spoilers ahead, and let's get into the video. The film begins with Tess Marshall, who arrives at a remote house in a rundown Detroit neighborhood. She has booked the house through an online rental service to attend a job interview upon her arrival. She discovers that the house is already occupied by a man named Keith, who's played by Bill Skarsgård. He also booked the house through a different service. And there's no other option for the night, so they ultimately decide that they will share the house. Despite the initial awkwardness, Tess and Keith gradually begin to trust each other. They share a bottle of wine, and Keith explains his presence in Detroit was for a documentary project. So that's cool. As the night progresses, their conversation begins to become more relaxed, and they just seem to get along together. They start to form a bond. However, Tess remains cautious and locks her bedroom door before going to sleep. In the morning, though, while searching for toilet paper, Tess discovers a hidden basement door. She's curious and curiously kills the cat, so she opens it. And she goes inside. She stumbles upon a hidden corridor with a secret room containing a camera, a stained bed, a handprint, and a bucket. Horrified, she runs back upstairs to inform Keith, and she has to wait until he comes back. So Keith is skeptical at first, but he agrees to check the basement, and when he doesn't return after quite a while, Tess reluctantly goes back down to look for him. She finds another hidden door leading to a deeper, darker section of the basement. Following the eerie tunnels, Tess finds Keith, who is disoriented and frightened, claiming something bit him. As they try to escape, they encounter a monstrous, deformed woman, who is also butt-ass naked, called the Mother, who violently attacks and kills Keith. And Tess is terrified, but she manages to escape deeper into the tunnel, trying to find a way out. The film then shifts to AJ, who is a disgraced Hollywood actor facing some sexual assault allegations. With his career in jeopardy, AJ travels to Detroit to liquidate his assets, including the very house that Tess has rented. Unaware of the house's horrifying secrets, AJ arrives and begins to explore the place. While inspecting the house, he discovers the hidden basement, and in his desperation to find more rentable space, he is literally taking the tape measure down there to look for some more square feet. He even Googles, can underground basements be counted as square feet? He stumbles upon the same tunnels, and he eventually finds Tess, who explains the presence of the monstrous woman that they are in danger with. And then he falls down a hole after running from her, and they're stuck in the hole together. Through some flashbacks, though, we reveal something horrible. Like, this is literally just sick. So, in the 1980s, the house belonged to Frank, who's played by Richard Brake, a sadistic man who kidnapped an imprisoned woman in the basement, and he filmed their torture and abuse, eventually fathering children who were subjected to his horrific acts, and then that would continue over and over. He'd have them, then he'd do something with them, then have another kid, repeat, rinse and repeat, and that's how we got the woman, aka the Mother. She is a product of generations of incest and abuse driven to protect and nurture any new captives. As Tess and AJ navigate the tunnels, though, they are pursued by the Mother and they manage to find a way out. But AJ accidentally shoots Tess. He mistakes her for the Mother, and despite her injury, Tess continues trying to get out with AJ. He just sort of pisses off. And they then find the homeless guy from earlier in the movie who sort of screamed at Tess, telling her, "No, don't go in the house, little girl." That's not even a joke, he literally does that. So they ultimately find themselves on top of a water tower, and the Mother, in her desperate attempt to reclaim her children, pursues them. AJ, in a moment of cowardice, being the utter disgrace that he is, pushes Tess off the water tower to distract the Mother. However, the Mother leaps after Tess, cushioning her fall and sacrificing herself. Except she doesn't die. Because in the next scene, Tess is fine, except she's been shot, so she can barely, like, stand up properly. But she's all good. The mother then awakes and grabs AJ by the neck, then shoves her fingers into his eyes, then rips his head in two. And it is absolutely brutal. Tess then decides that she does not want to go back to the house with the mum, because obviously, who would want to live with that? No offense, you know. So she then shoots it. Good call. And then she walks away, and she is finally free. And yeah, that's where the film ends, and it's just a really good horror film. I feel the last 10 minutes does kind of go downhill a bit, because we get a bit of, like, reform for AJ, and then he just turns back into the dick that he is. Like, why not just keep going with that? Why not have him, like, change his character? Why not, like, confess to what he did? And then the final scene afterwards shows him, like, apologizing for it and going to jail, maybe. Like, that would probably be an ending that I'd prefer. I don't know. I mean, the scenes earlier in this film that I didn't talk about. There's a feeding scene, and it's exactly what you think it is. And it's just messed up. But yeah, so let's talk about the movie a bit more in depth, though. Barbarian is a really good horror film. It is the directorial debut of Zach Cregger, who is a former comedian. We're really seeing a trend recently where we've got comedians just becoming horror directors and doing really bloody well. Like, he's able to create a real just atmosphere of claustrophobia and dread, and the film's pacing is pretty good. Like, there's some points where it's a bit slow, but especially in, like, the first 20 minutes when it's just Tess and I can't remember who he plays. No, hang on, let me get the name. It's Tess and Bill Skarsgård character together, Keith. It's just Tess and Keith, like, sat together for the first 20 minutes of the film, just sort of, like, getting to know each other. Which is good, you know, you want your characters to know each other, but I just felt they could have, like, I guess, done more horror building in that bit, rather than just, like, introduction to the characters. Because we already know them at that point. But yeah, it definitely makes a great use of the film's confined setting. And Georgina Campbell really shines as Tess. She delivers a really good performance that captures the character's strength and vulnerability at the same time. And it's just really, really cool. And Bill Skarsgård and Justin Long both provide really good, strong supporting characters. Skarsgård's character is sexist. Justin Long's character is sexist, but he's way further down the line. This whole film is basically just a commentary on sexism. And, I mean, you can definitely see it with Bill Skarsgård's character, because he is like, nah, I'm not going to let a lady sleep on the couch. He's more, like, old-fashioned. And then Justin Long's character is a rapist, so, you know, you get why he's sexist and just horrible. But, yeah, the film's screenplay, which was also written by Cregger, is really a standout. It definitely balances the horror, mystery, and character development, which I would have preferred a bit more of for some of the other characters. I really did like just the subversion of the typical tropes, though. Like, it keeps you on your toes for the entire length of the film. And the dialogue isn't that bad. There's a bit in there which just sort of threw me off guard, which was like the bit where they had just like all the stuff talking about what the bloke did to the girls over and over again in his basement, and I was like, oh Jesus Christ. I mean, the practical effects are another really good part. Like, the mother is a really good, like, villain. I'm just getting, like, kind of bored of just, like, big naked thing in horror movies now. Like, we got that in Men in 2022, we got that in Beau is Afraid, we've seen that in this now. Like, I'm a bit bored of the whole trend now. I mean, like, this film definitely does have some bits where the plot stretches, though, especially in the later half of the film. Some people will think the twists and turns are a bit too overly ambitious, which I definitely felt. It feels kind of far-fetched that Jess was already falling, like, not Jess, Tess was falling, like, halfway down the bloody thing. Then the mother is somehow able to just get underneath her. Like, I know she's quite big, but, like, are they implying something here? That her weight was so able to make her just fall all the way past Tess? Like, I don't get it. I don't think anyone will be able to do that. But, yeah, ultimately, this film is a really, really good horror film. It subverts your expectations. It's got great performances, great acting, and a really good directorial debut from Zach Cregger. The film delivers a suspenseful and terrifying experience that is definitely able to subvert your expectations and maintain a high level of tension throughout the film. I think it's really cool, and it's got some good twists and turns in there. I give it like an 8 out of 10, but what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below.